Let me walk you through the current national tax distribution system. All the taxes generated by states are sent to the federal government through the Federal Inland Revenue Service monthly. The federal government then redistributes the funds based on the VAT distribution rules as shown in the image. The federal government uses a formula to calculate each state's share of the 50%. For example, if 100 million is generated, federal government takes 15%, which is 15 million, while the state shares 50%, which is 50 million. Local government takes 35%, which is 35 million. This is how the current tax redistribution works. Note, the 50% allocated to states is further divided into 3 parts, but not shared equally. A specific formula determines what each state gets from the 50 million. The same applies to local governments, but for this explanation, I will be focusing on states. For the formulas, we have equality, population, and derivation. 1. Equality. From the total generated taxes, 50%, which is 50 million, is allocated to states plus FCT. Under equality sharing, 50% of 50 million, which is 25 million, is distributed equally among all the states, and states benefiting from equality sharing are all the states. 2. Population. After the first half, which is equality sharing, the second half is splitted between population and derivation. For population, 30% of the 50 million, which is 15 million, is shared based on each state's population size. States with larger populations receive more money than those with smaller ones. Beneficiaries of this formula are mostly northern states and Lagos. At this point, 80% of the funds allocated to states has been shared, primarily benefiting North and Lagos. For the third one, we have derivation. Only 20% remains to be shared from the 50 million allocated to states under the derivation formula. States that contributed more taxes gets more, while the states that contributed less gets less regardless of their population size. States that benefit the most from derivation are those with major company headquarters, industries, and economic hubs like Lagos and Rivers. The states which gained heavily from the previous 2 formulas, which is population and equality, will likely care less about derivation. Let's talk about the new tax reform bills, the one that is causing all the troubles regarding the new tax reform. The federal government reduced its allocation by 5% and added it to the states, increasing states' share by 35%, while local government allocation remained the same. Derivation, previously the lowest at 20%, has been increased to 60%, making it the highest, surpassing both equality and population sharing. From the previous image, you can see which states and region will benefit the most from the new tax reform. Let's talk about how it's going to benefit President Tinubu. With all his establishments based in Lagos, he controls the state's resources in proxy. What he's really doing is protecting his finances. Come 2027, it's a win-win for him. Whether he loses, it's a win because he will still be getting a lot of allocations from the federal government. So, and it's not easy to just change constitution just like that. So it's a win-win for President Tinubu on this one. He pays tax to the federal government and then get it back along with others' contribution through the tax distribution that will now heavily favor Lagos. I support the bill, but I see it benefiting West the most, if the Eastern Corridor is not reopened for economic activities like the West. I believe it will eventually happen. It's one step at a time. The Eastern Corridor has been blocked economically, with oil and gas allocation driving its economy, not tax revenue. States that are going to be more pressured to generate more taxes are states from the Western Corridor, which is the left side of the Atlantic coast to the northwest, with 4 international airports. In conclusion, reopening the Eastern Corridor unlocks Nigeria's full potential, boosts local economy, creates jobs, lowers costs, increases taxes, and reignites trade across West and Central Africa. The benefits will be felt by all. Until we move past the civil war, Nigeria will remain still. The major reason why the North is against this bill is because of the reduced allocation to population, which, if you ask me, it's an ongoing scam that the South has allowed to go on for too long. Open up the South for business. Everything shouldn't be concentrated in Lagos State and Abuja. Things were fine before the Civil War, and the emergence of Civil War brought about sanctions and distrust, which is affecting the entire nation till date. If the tax reform bill becomes law, every state will be compelled to chart its own path to economic growth. That bill is a game changer, which will push states to build self-sustaining economy. For the Southeast, it's a call for visionary leaders with macroeconomic expertise. This reform holds the key to unlocking untapped potential, which holds the promise of transformative change for Nigeria. However, its success hinges on inclusivity, ensuring that no region is left behind. By reducing over-reliance on federal allocations, states must innovate and harness their unique strengths. Inclusive economic policies and infrastructural development are crucial for national unity and prosperity. This reform is a game changer, but only if implemented with a vision for all regions. It's a call to action for leaders who can drive change, unlock untapped potential, and ensure that every state strives. The tax reform bill must also come with resources control bill. Each state or region must be allowed to control the natural resources found in their land. The tax reform bill is 4 separate bills with hundreds of pages. If the only issue is the VAT sharing formula, note VAT is not the top contributor to Federal Accounts Allocation Committee. This bill will reduce the tax paid by Nigerians by 90%, including the illegal taxes collected. I am yet to see a bill that has been proposed to be as progressive as this in Nigeria. It can never be perfect and it will never satisfy everyone. But we can't stand still. Nigeria is broke and President Tinubu is going to squeeze the rich seriously because the poor cannot be squeezed anymore. Northern states will be forced to set up or perish. Their leaders will be forced to work very hard. Holidays are over, baby. Let each state stand up to grow their GDP. There are vast potentials across the states, but most governors are too reliant on the federal government allocations. This is a call to duty. Let the governors tap their hidden resources to bring more to the table. Thanks for watching this video. See you in my next video. Bye.